family event. And so my daughter's turning 5 in December, and perfect age for this kind of presentation. So
Absolutely. So I'm going to take a minute, guys, just to introduce Chad. I've been blessed to meet Chad recently since the merger. The only knock I can give Chad at all is he's a graduate of UF. My wife's a Seminole. My sister's a Seminole. I can't hold that against him, though. He's one of the few financial professionals you'll find that are studied both accounting and law. So if he chose to, he could practice both law and accounting, but he felt that he could make a better impact on the community and the lives of others being a financial professional. He serves the community proudly. He lives in Weston with his wife, Katie, and his daughter, Olivia, who's there with us. In his free time, he enjoys spending time with the family, golfing, traveling, and playing flag football. So listen, Chad's a great guy. He's really here out of the kindness of his heart to give back. So that's really what it comes down to. We're here to give back to the community and teach you guys a little bit about money today and your kids. So our goal is just that. So Chad, without further ado, take it away, man.
Thanks, Noah. I appreciate the introduction. And as Noah said, my goal here today is really to provide some financial education to the kids that are attending today. This really is all about the kids, because one of the things that I realized throughout my career in working initially with a lot of graduate level students is that even at that high level of education, there's a complete lack of financial education. And there's nothing better than getting an early start on financial education, even with some of the topics we're going to be talking about today, which is easily understandable by the kids, and I think will go a long way in shaping their future. So today we really want to make this fun and engaging. We're going to have some activities to do together. And then also there'll be some great activities that you guys can do at home as a family to really bolster your children's financial education. With that being said, this is about the kids. So any questions that the parents may have related to their own finances, or any questions, about what the election is going to do on the market or anything like that, we're happy to have those conversations offline. So we just really want to make this about the kids tonight. So most of us are probably doing some sort of virtual either learning or meetings these days. The kids that are on, or the parents who's using their Zoom, by show of hands, if you can raise your hands, how many of you are learning remotely right now, either with your parents, or with your teachers, or just interacting with your classmates? All right, we got one hand raised. Claudia's hand raised. Isabella, thank you guys. And parents, how about you? How many of you are doing virtual meetings these days? All right, we've got quite a few. No surprise, we're one of them. And it's definitely been interesting getting used to working remotely, but I do think it is going to be somewhat of the wave of the future. So it's a good thing to be learning. So in light of that, and to keep things moving along, I'd like to share a couple quick housekeeping tips. So if everyone right now can put themselves on mute, please go ahead, and so we can kind of eliminate the background noise. But if you have any questions, just raise your hand and we'll be able to unmute you. Angela, do you happen to have a question?
No, Chad.
I will go. Feel free to stand up, take breaks, stretch. I know it's dinner time, so feel free to eat dinner, and let's make this enjoyable. Brooke, next slide, please. Next slide. All right, so as Noah said, my name's Chad Tourin. I'm Associate Managing Director with Coastal Wealth. Without getting too much into my background, because this is about the kids, I figured why not include a picture of my family from Hawks Cay, definitely pre-pandemic, but definitely want to make our way back. That's my daughter Olivia and my wife Katie, and we actually have another one on the way coming in February. Favorite color is blue. No surprise, thanks to Noah with my Gator reference, but go Gators with the blue. And Olivia's favorite color is pink, right, Livy? All right. And favorite food is steak. My favorite game, probably no surprise to the parents listening in, being a financial advisor, my favorite game is Monopoly. I vividly recall playing games of Monopoly with my grandparents when I was little, and I guess my love of holding all that fake money back then kind of spearheaded my professional path. And the best thing to describe what I do to the kids in attendance tonight is that I help your mommies and daddies and people like them learn how to save money for the purpose of accomplishing the things that they want and the things that they need. And we'll be talking a little bit tonight about the difference between wants and needs. Oh, perfect. Okay, so the three main money skills we're going to talk about tonight. First is learning how to count coins and paper money, really being able to identify the type of money we use to pay for the things we want. That's kind of the cornerstone, obviously, to learning about money. We're going to learn about the difference between needs and wants, because there's definitely a distinction between the two and what should be accomplished first. And then also we're going to talk a little bit about savings and savings to achieve your goals. So there's really nothing that's needed tonight from you guys, really. We have the slide deck here to help follow along. And also for those that received the worksheet, feel free to use that. But if you didn't, it's no big deal. You'll be able to keep along perfectly well just using pen and paper and a blank sheet of paper. So we can get started. So what is money, right? We're having a class about money skills. Well, money is what we use, guys, to pay for the things that we want and need, but it's also how we get paid for things that we do for other people. So whether it's a kid earning an allowance for doing their chores, it could be parents providing services such as doctors, lawyers, accountants, etc. Or it could be people who earn money by providing goods to other people. Money is really a two-way street. We earn money by providing goods and services for other people, and we can use that money to pay for goods and services provided by other people. So there's different kinds of money, and where you live that will affect what your money is called in those countries. This is really referred to as currency, and all different countries have different currencies. And here where we live in the United States, our currency is the US dollar. So with our currency, there's actually different types inside of that. And up here we can see coins and we can see bills. So let's take a few minutes, a minute or two, and actually identify what these things are. And parents, this is a great opportunity to interact with your kids to really help them with this. So take a second or two and kind of work through with the upper left. Anyone want to raise their hand and shout out what the coin is in the upper left? All right. Oh, we've got Angela.
It's a penny.
Thank you, Angela. I appreciate that. While we have you on the line, do you want to talk about what is to the right of the penny?
I think that's 5 cents. Is that what it is?
Close, close. Same color, very similar. It's actually the dime.
A dime, okay.
Yes, yes. So if we go to the next slide, we'll actually be able to see what each of these things are. And so you see that the penny, and I'm also going to go through and explain what each of them are worth. And then in the activities that follow, we'll be able to explain how they get added together. So a penny, which is the gold coin, is worth 1 cent. A nickel, which is below the penny, is worth 5 cents. The dime to the right of the penny is 10 cents. Below the dime is a quarter, which is worth 25 cents. And then on the right, we have different kinds of bills. We have a dollar bill worth $1 and a $5 bill worth $5. So now we're going to go through and really learn how different types of coins equal each other. So we're going to be adding them together. We're going to go through a couple of different exercises together. And then what we're going to do is try some on our own. Not homework, but we're going to make this fun and interactive together right now. So on the top left, you'll see there are pennies. Now, who can tell me how many pennies there are? SD? Hand was raised. Oh, we got Summer.
You there? Oh, no. Oh, it's Valentina. Can you hear her?
Hi.
Hi, yes we can.
Okay.
There's 5.
5, that's perfect. Thank you. And you can stay on the line because what we're gonna do is you're gonna see is that everything on the left equals the coin that's on the right. So if we have 5 pennies, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's 5 cents. And 5 cents equals 1 nickel. So that's how you could learn is that there's 5 pennies is the exact same thing as 1 nickel. Now below that, now that we know that a nickel is worth 5 cents, how many nickels do we have? Below.
I think you said
There's 2 nickels.
Perfect, perfect. So 2 nickels, you can see, is equal to 1 dime. And then last but not least, we have 2 dimes, and sorry for answering the question. We have 2 dimes and 1 nickel. And what does that equal? Who can tell me what the big coin there is on the right side of that?
A quarter.
Perfect, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. So we're gonna do another one now. And it's gonna get a little bit harder, but we're gonna be able to see how coins can actually equal bills. So here, who remembers what these coins are on the left side? Who wants to raise their hand? Oh,
They're quarters.
Claudia. Claudia?
4.
All right, we got 4 quarters, and that equals $1. Great job. Now next, this one might be a little bit tricky because they're all dollars and they're all different kinds of dollars. They look the same, they have the same color, but I'll give you guys a trick. Look at the numbers on the bills, okay? So who wants to tell me what on the left side is? Summer?
So, okay. So there are there's $5 $1 bills. So there's 5 in a row, but they're $1 bills.
Perfect. So 5 $1 bills is $5. And if you take a look at what's on the right side, what's over there?
A $5 bill.
Exactly. So 5 $1 bills is the exact same thing as a $5 bill.
Mm-hmm.
Great job, everybody. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to play a little game. So all you need for this game is a pen or pencil and either your worksheet or a blank piece of paper. It's perfectly fine if you don't have the worksheet. Okay? So we're going to go to the next slide. I'm going to start the game and I'll explain how it's played. And parents, this is going to be a part where your help will be much appreciated because we're going to give some time to kind of go through the answers. But first, I'll explain how it works. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to put up different coins or dollar bills. Okay? We're going to start by identifying how much each coin is worth. And then we're going to add them all up to figure out how much everything is worth. So here, you see we have 1 penny, which is worth 1 cent. We have a nickel that's worth 5 cents and a dime that's worth 10 cents. So if we add that up, 1 plus 5 plus 10. Who can tell me what that equals? And it's take a few seconds, work with your parents, and we'll kind of figure out what the number is together. Brooke, we can go to the next slide. All right, so for those of you that work through it, you'll see that 1 penny plus 1 nickel plus 1 dime equals 16 cents. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And I'll share a little tip with you. First, you want to identify the value of the coins and write them down, and then go back and add them up to figure out how much there is. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started with the first round. And I'm going to give everyone 1 minute to work through this, and then we'll move on to the next one. All right, about 10 more seconds, and then we're going to go on to the next one. All righty, round 2. And here's a little tip, guys. We're always going to go to the coins and bills arranged in order from left to right, meaning that the smallest coins and bills are going to be on the left-hand side, and the largest are going to be on the right. So go ahead and take another minute, and I'll let you know before we're moving on to the next one. All right, about 10 more seconds, and we'll move on to round 3. All righty, round 3, here we go. Everyone doing all right so far? Feel free to raise your hand with any questions you may have. Esty, you have a question?
No. I don't think so.
Okay,
No.
Okay.
no worries.
Thank you.
Okay, so on round 3, we're increasing the number of coins, but remember, it's still arranged in the same order of value from lowest to highest. Okay, I know they're getting a little more difficult, but we're going to work through this together. And I'll give you about another minute here. Alrighty, a few more seconds, and let's go to round 4. So around 4, we're changing up a little bit because we're adding dollars. But remember, everything is still increasing in value from left to right. So identify what the coin or bill is, write it down, and then add them together. And I'll let you know once we're moving on to the next one. Isaiah, you have a question with the hands up? Okay, guess not. Alrighty, a few more to go, and then we're going to be on to the fun, what I consider the fun part of the presentation. So we'll move on to round 5. And I'll give everyone a little bit of time because this one is definitely the hardest of the group here. But remember, there's coins and bills, so just identify what each one is and then add them together. And it's okay if it's taking you some time. This is definitely stuff we can practice at home, piling up coins and bills and adding them together. Alrighty, round 6, everyone. How much does this add up to? I'll give you a hint, everyone. There's no wrong answer. Now we'll come back to this one, but let's first see how we did with the other rounds. And so we'll see the answers here, and everyone can kind of score themselves. Round 1 was 10 cents. Round 2 was 50 cents. Round 3 was 56 cents. Round 4 was $1.50. Round 5 was $7.25. And round 6, well, remember, that was a trick question. So we're going to talk about that very, very briefly. And then we'll continue on with the next part of the presentation, which is identifying needs and wants. So here, what we saw was a picture of a debit or a credit card. Now, it's also money, but it's a different way. Instead of a fixed value, like a coin or a bill, what it does is provides you access to money that you can either use from your bank or borrow and pay later. And I'll touch upon that just now. So there's benefits to using debit cards and credit cards, but it's important to be mindful when you're using them. And there's no one on this call, at least in terms of kids, that should have a debit or credit card at this point, because there are obviously potential issues that come with it. But what's important to remember, kids, is that when you're at the store and you see your parents using a credit card, it doesn't mean that they're not paying for it, okay? Because they still have to pay for it at the end of the day. So when you see your parents using credit cards, it's important to remember they are still buying you those things with their money, and hopefully they're doing so in a responsible fashion. And you know, that could be an entire other presentation that we can have with the parents in terms of using credit cards effectively and efficiently. So we're going to move on now to part 2 of the presentation. Now that we know what kind of money you're spending, now it's important to address what you're spending it on. And a good way to look at what you're spending your money on is really by looking at it as needs and wants. Now, look at the 2 items that you see here. Which one is a need and which one is a want? And here's a hint. A need is something that you use for safety, for health, and really can't live without. A want is something that you would really like to have, but you could live without. So if anyone wants to come out off mute and yell out which one they think is a need, we can go ahead and do so now. Does anyone want to volunteer?
A need is the groceries.
That's right. That's right. And the reason why, we can go to the next slide, is that the need, you know, you're going to need to eat food, right? When you go grocery shopping, you need to pay for food to stay strong and healthy. Now, a soccer ball is something that you would like to have. It's a want, but you can't eat a soccer ball, guys. So it's really important to remember that you should always take care of your needs first before you address your wants. So let's go on a journey together. And for this journey, all you'll need is a pen or pencil and your worksheet. And for this journey, I'd like you to meet 2 of my friends. Next slide, Brooke. And I'd like each of you now to pick which friend you would like to take on your journey with you. You can only pick one. There's Pirate Captain Swasher, and Space Captain Zelly. Each friend that you're taking has a goal that they need your help to achieve before they can celebrate. So remember, the things that they're going to need in order to achieve their goal. And here are the 2 goals. Captain Swasher's goal is to find a hidden treasure on Pirate Island. And Captain Zelly's goal is to find alien life in outer space. Both very, very, very interesting and fun goals, but they're going to need different things in order to achieve them. And the things that they're going to need, they're going to have to purchase in order to make sure that their journey is a success. Each captain has $20 to spend in the adventure store. Now take some time and give some thought as to what they might need versus what might be a want, and capture the things that you think they might need to reach their specific goals. So if we can go back one slide, and I'll read their goals again for you, so that when you're looking at the adventure store, you can really figure out what they're going to need for their goals. Bro, can we go back one slide? So remember, we're going to need to pick things to help them achieve their goals, right? And Captain Swasher wants to find treasure on Pirate Island, and Captain Zelly wants to find alien life in outer space. So on the next slide, when you're looking at the adventure store, think about what stuff they're going to need. And I'll give you guys a few minutes to list and gather your supplies. And parents, this is a great time to help them, because they can only pick 3 things and they have $20 to do so. So take a couple minutes and think about what they might need for their goals and jot them down. All right, so let's get started. We're going to pick 3 different parts of their journey, and we're going to see if everybody picked the right things that they need. So when they start out, what are they going to need to get their travel started? Remember, the pirate wants to go find treasure, and the spaceman wants to go to outer space. So did everyone select the pirate ship and the rocket ship? So everyone can raise their hands and let me know. Alrighty, great, because the captains can't start their journeys without these things. So these are definitely needs. So great job, everyone. Now let's keep going here. Are they going to be able to keep going? Because Captain Swasher's lost and Captain Zelly is running low on fuel. So did everybody select the map for Captain Swasher and the rocket fuel for Captain Zelly? Perfect, because these guys are needs for them to continue on their journey, because without them, they'd either get lost or not be able to make it to space. And we're going to go ahead now, and we're going to go to the next one, and we're going to finish the journey. So Captain Swasher needs to dig, and Captain Zelly needs to explore a new planet. And in order to dig, Captain Swasher would need a shovel. And so hopefully everyone picked the shovel as the need for Captain Swasher. And for the Captain Zelly, hopefully everyone picked the spacesuit, because that would be needed to explore the alien life on another planet. So congratulations, everybody. You helped our friends complete their journey. And now that they've achieved their goals, you've helped them achieve their goals by choosing their right needs, they got a reward, a $5 reward for completing their journey that they can use for the things that they wanted. So Captain Swasher can buy a parrot, and Captain Zelly can get a robot dog. So now that we have an understanding of needs and wants, it's important to understand that sometimes it will take a while to have enough money to buy either. So you can set aside money over time as a way to have enough money to buy things that are more expensive. Setting money aside and letting it pile up is called saving. And saving is incredibly important as you identify your needs and wants for your journey. So saving, as I just said, is really not buying stuff now so that you can buy larger, or more important purchases later. Now, who here knows how they can potentially save money or what they can put it into to save money? Esty, you want to go ahead and let us know?
It's Valentina.
Oh, hi, Valentina. Sorry, Esty's the name on there.
You can either put it in a piggy bank or in your bank. Like the place or something.
That's actually the perfect example. Those were going to be the two examples I can have. So for those that have piggy banks at home, my daughter has a few. It's a great way to put loose coins that you may have around the house. And over time, you'll build up a lot of coins that you can potentially use for bigger purchases. The other thing that you may use is, obviously a lot of people, like our parents, we use banks for savings. And so now the question becomes, I'd like to ask everyone, how do you earn money? And not just by asking your parents, but actually, how do you actually earn money?
You can earn money by doing your chores or getting good school grades.
Perfect. I love those answers. Anyone else?
Going to work.
Going to work. I love it. I love it. So we're going to go ahead to the next slide because you touched upon one of them, actually, when you said doing chores. And one of the ways that you can earn money is by getting an allowance. And typically when you do things around the house for your mommy and daddy, sometimes your parents, not all, so I don't want to, a lot of families are different, but you can earn money by doing chores. And then you could take that money and you could put it in a piggy bank. And so in this example, Lucy, her family gives $5 a week for her chores. So if she went 3 weeks with saving money and not spending it, how much money do you think she would have at the end of 3 weeks? And I'll give everyone a second to think about that. Next slide, please, Brooke. That's right. For those of you that said $15, you're right. Because in week 1, Lucy would save $5. In week 2, she would save $5. And in week 3, she would save $5. And 5 plus 5 plus 5 is 15. So if Lucy put her money in a safe spot and kept saving it, she might be able to buy things that are more expensive. And this also means that she's choosing to save and not spend her money on other things. So savings is important because there are also a lot of things that might be tempting to spend money on. But it's important to remember that those things could be wants. It could be ice cream cones or lollipops or gummy bears or video games or any of the things that you see up there. But every time you spend money on things, your savings gets smaller. So it's important that you don't get distracted by the things you want initially and focus on the things that you actually need, such as groceries like we talked about earlier. But a benefit of saving is that your money can grow and grow, and every time you add more money to your savings, you can actually purchase things that are more expensive. So if Lucy wanted to save her money, she could potentially buy a bike. But if she took that $5 in week 1 and went to the store and bought candy, well, she wouldn't be able to save up money over time to buy that bike. So saving things sounds great, but you also might have other goals. And so the question becomes is how do you deal with goals versus needs and wants? Well, the good news is that you can do both. You can do everything all at once. And here's a trick that maybe you want to start doing at home with your family. You can take 3 jars and create 3 different things. One's a jar for the things you need, like food, things that you might need for showers and baths to keep clean. You can create one for the things that you want and one for your goals. And so every time that you get money, whether it's through an allowance or you get money on your birthdays or holidays, you can take that money and you can put a little bit into each jar. But the important thing to remember is that you don't, once the money is in the jar, you don't take it and move it to a different jar if that jar happens to run out. You want to keep making sure that you're actually putting money away for each of the three things that are important to you, which you can see here with our friend John. John has $10 and there's things that he wants to spend his money on. The school lunch would cost $3 and it looks like a delicious grilled cheese sandwich. Who likes grilled cheese? All right, we've got a couple people that like grilled cheese, and grilled cheese would be a need because food is something that we need, right? But John has a goal. John has a goal of getting a video game one day. And so that, because it's a goal, is going to cost more money that he's going to have to save for over time. And then the last thing that you see is the gummy bear snacks. Now, gummy bear snacks are delicious, but it's not something you actually need. That's something you want to have. So it's okay to put money into the want jar also, but make sure you're addressing the other jars as well. And you can see here that John was able to put money into each of his three buckets: the needs bucket, the goals bucket, and the wants bucket. And that eventually he'd be able to get all the things he wanted because he was a great saver. So the most important thing, kids, that you can remember from tonight is that savings is one of the best things that you can do. And you can make it go into three different jars for you to save for. And the same goes true for parents. It's a much more, obviously, in-depth conversation when it comes to savings and making sure you're saving the right amount, but also make sure that those savings are going to the right strategies and vehicles for you. And it's entirely over conversation because this is about the kids, but for everybody on the call, parents or kids, it's really important to remember that everything starts with savings. I was taught very, very early on in high school an acronym called PIF, P-Y-F, and it stands for Pay Yourself First. And regardless of the stage of life that you're in, it's an acronym that will do you well financially. All right, everyone, I hope everyone had fun today. I know I did. I know Olivia did before she went off to go have dinner. Hope it was enjoyable and everyone learned a lot. There's a couple things actually that, now that everyone's money experts, that they can do from home. One would be practice identifying money with your kids. And kids, you can lay out coins on the floor and actually identify what those different coins are worth to your parents. And this is one of the first things that you can start to do to become really good with money. And as a family, you can actually practice identifying the differences between needs, goals, and wants as you make these purchases, so your kids will get a better understanding of the distinction between the three. And I encourage everyone to try that 3-jar method. I found it effective with my daughter. Another technique that I use is that when I go to a store, which obviously I haven't been doing now with the pandemic, but when you go to a store, a lot of times I'll tell my daughter, okay, you have $2 to spend on something that you want or need, and she'll go and try and pick things out. And if it's, above the $2, I'll tell her, no, that's too expensive. We need to actually save more. And then kind of let her learn how to utilize that money effectively. And so, I'd really like to thank everyone for being on the call tonight. I hope everyone got a lot out of it. And I thank you kids for having your parents participate with you. And I hope they've got things out of it as well. And parents, again, I know this was for the kids, but if you have more complex family financial matters that you need assistance with, feel free to reach out to anyone at Coastal Wealth, including myself. We have a great team, great firm, and we're really here, as I said in the beginning, to be a financial resource, especially with the financial uncertainty that we're all facing right now. It's a great time to have just a sounding board that you can run some ideas by at the very least. And so, if anyone wants to jot down my phone number, I'd be happy to speak with you. And it's 954-558-2288. 8333, and we can relay this information to the registrants after. But I really appreciate you taking the time. I know it was probably difficult after a long day of work and teaching our kids at home and everything that goes with it. So thank you for attending, and we'll be having another one on Thursday night, geared for a little bit older audience, the 9 to 12-year-olds. So feel free to pass that information along with anyone that you feel might be interested. And thanks again to everyone for attending, and for Brooke for helping with the slides, and hope everyone has a great night.
Thank you, Chad.
Mister.
You're welcome. Thank you.